used for the benefits that it has now in last 10 years, we have found that it can give to businesses, to people, to everybody in the society because of the government regulation. Because those satellite data or all that information that was available, obviously no private player can put that, only government can put that, but that was restricted to defense use only. Now, there the role of the government becomes very important in coming up with policies that will allow this technology, these new innovative business models to prosper and in bargain give value to everybody. I was talking to my daughter, she said that I have never used Uber to be honest, and she told me yesterday that you are outdated, you are an old man. I said, yeah, that's true, that's a fact, but why should I use Uber? She said, first of all, it's very cheap. Second of all, you are helping a guy who really needs a help. You are not helping a big corporate the taxi company, and it's so convenient. Why don't you use it? And now Uber is facing a massive challenge in terms of regulation. Obviously it displaces some benefits which were captured by some other groups, and they are fighting back, and they are saying that Uber should not be allowed to provide services that they are providing. So I think that there the role of government increasingly is, as two of the panelists said, that where government is trying to put money, which is our money, for innovation, is the other side. Next slide, please. So basically, there are 4 roles which have been. There's a very nice paper by Satish Nambisan. He talks about what is the role of government in these collaborative innovation, because these technologies allow for this collaborative innovation to take place. Without these technologies, it was prohibitive for any company or for government to come up with these innovation and involve large communities, a large number of experts who are dispersed for this innovation. So basically, the innovation integrator, so you can think about this whole domain of a problem being very well defined to problem being less defined, to whether it should be led by the government or it should be led by the community. Now, when the problem is very well defined, then it can be, government can be an innovation integrator. That's the role that many times government plays in terms of providing NSF funding. You give a proposal which is very well defined, what problem will be solved. Government takes the lead, says that yeah, this is important, and that leads to great innovation. Where the innovation is, the problem is not very well defined, it's emergent, but government takes the lead, then it becomes an innovation seeker, in which NASA has a great example where they take out that these are the problems we are facing. Anybody has a solution that they will be willing to accept, but the problem is not very well defined. It's only the symptoms that are given, and you have to define the problem and come up with a solution. And then other two, innovation champion and innovation catalyst, are the roles in which the government doesn't take that lead. The government, the community takes the lead, or the people who are facing a problem take a lead, and government only coordinates and tries to get new ways which are more cost effective to solve those problems. I'm sorry if I ran out.
No, that's okay. I think all of you know it was a good talk. Well, I'm like a student, so I'll sit and ask you a quick question. So,
sure.
In terms of the government looking at innovation, typically we know the government is chasing vote banks. They are looking at popularistic kind of projects. So that seems to be me a contradiction, where innovation is not really visible to the public, right? So how do you see, is there a contradiction there? Do you still think they can coexist? How do you balance the two?
I mean, again, if you don't take a cynical view about politics, then I don't see any contradiction, because politics is about doing good for the society. And all these innovations are nothing but more cost-efficient ways of doing things differently so that the benefits reach to people. Just like Neil Keshkari was talking about education. I think education is one sector that's the sector which has not innovated in at least half a century. If you look at the public school system, it's the same system that was run 30, 40, 50 years back. While the society has moved on, technology has moved on, aspirations have moved on. So I think that there is a great role for innovation and yet getting the votes. Because people are at the end of the day looking for good services, efficient services at the lowest cost. So I don't think that these are necessarily contradictory in terms of doing that. Yeah.
I guess we are.
So we
are behind.
we are kind of behind. So maybe we have time for just 2 questions, if it's okay for you guys.
No questions. Yeah, to the back.
Well, madam, you mentioned government funds some of the innovations. Say, for example, you mentioned Google, $5 million. So what are the kind of metrics that government uses to monitor the progress? Because innovation is something that we tread unknown waters. So there's no way you can measure it. So how do they do that?
I think government sets a framework. This is what we are expecting or not expecting out of this. It could be an hypothesis testing or whatever. But you'll have a principal investigator and the stated research objectives, and they'll set that framework, right? Because it's uncharted territory. So whatever it comes out of it, that's what they have to live with. So I don't, is that?
Yeah, but then will they continue that with another project?
Well, the greatest thing, for example, Google, they invested, let's say, $4.5 million, right? When it became a company, the Google is paying about 800 million, Google employees are paying $800 million per year in taxes back to the government. So that's a very good metric.
All right,
Okay.
any other question?
Ready for a break? Okay.
This is going to involve almost all the panelists, so little patience with me. As you mentioned, like, about the Uber example for, like, taxi services, like here the government, instead of helping them basically at struggling. The same thing happened also if you know about, like, how to broadcast the TV channel over internet. Another company has been died out because all this big corporation, especially like the cable channel provider, they just went behind and basically shot the the bird. Now, if you see that recently, I heard that they are going to sell that through the internet, but on their own term. Now all the panelists, sooner or later it has to going to be the broadcast through the internet. I mean as I don't think they are very long. All these cable providers, they are going to keep that waste tight. But here the government, they're supposed to go with the innovation. They know that in United States is very much known for almost like a leader in all this technology. But rather they are going with supporting all this couple of big multi-billion-dollar business rather than innovation, which contradict some of the panelists. I mean, instead of helping, basically they're saying, hey, no, you are good doing that. They basically use the term, you are stealing the air away. Come on, give me a break. I mean, it's open for everybody. That company is doing, how is it stealing? It's just a matter of a couple of months or year, but sooner it's going to open. So how, I mean, I see here the government is doing just the opposite. Rather than
Can I take this question?
Yeah, okay. Yes.
So actually, it's
And the panel has literally 30 seconds to answer.
it's a very interesting question. And since it will take some time and I have 30 seconds, I can only say that there were legal issues involved. It's about intellectual property rights. That when a program is broadcast, who has the right over the content? And the company which was distributing that signal had no right over that content, because the content right remains with the TV station which is broadcasting, which has produced that program. So it was a very complicated. It wasn't just a question of regulation. It had a lot of other legal aspects to it, and as you know that it was finally challenged in the courts, and the courts ruled that. So it wasn't just a question of regulation, but yeah, you have asked a good question, and I think I don't have a short answer, but
Talk to him.
we can do it
Expect the
offline.
professor to give a 30-second answer. But all our contact numbers are here. If you have any questions, of course, we are going to be hanging around. So the break, feel free to come up to us and ask us.
So what we're going to do is, first of all, thank you very much for doing this. Let's give them a big hand. And then as a token of our gratitude, we have a gift for each one of you. And our wonderful volunteers, I want to acknowledge them, and they're going to present the gifts to you, and please display them in your offices, because we do want the world to know about IIM Americas. So. Yeah. All you can go one. You can come one by one. Yeah.
One by one, or
yeah. So why don't Prakash?
I'm assuming you're starting with.
Yes.
It can be in any order.
Thank you, Prakash.
Thank you.
This one has to be
Well, thank you so much, Amita.
Since we're running behind time, can we continue with the next session, or you want a 5-minute break?
5-minute break.
5-minute break. Okay, let's take a quick break.